race day.
Posted as we saw in the 11th position. Now the battle is tightened up once again between the Kelly Racing Team. Trouble! Your leader, Scott Sharp, spins coming out of turn number 3 and into turn 4.
Very slow spin. It kind of happens slowly. Could be a problem with the tires. Could be a slow puncture. Something broke, he said.
Of this man, Scott Sharp.
Very slowly starting to spin around, and we see that his tire is flat before he hits the wall. The tire went down, the tire shredded, and that's what made Scott Sharp spin. We can also see it on the tire marks on the track. Here we look on the inside from the back of the car, and look at this here. Keep an eye on that. Right there. See how it's shredding? There we go.
That tire came off at 181 miles per hour. Will Moody calls the shots for Scott Sharp. He's with Calvin Fish.
Back right away. It's a matter of timing.
Gregoire. Oh, Cheever.
Eddie Cheever.
Pits are closed. Car 28's your leader. Move out, please.
Eddie Cheever has crashed into the wall here at the Dover International Speedway, bringing out the second caution of the afternoon.
And we'll get a good look at it right here. Watch Cheever go around the outside with Robbie Unser and Scott Harrington.
Slow down.
And then all of a sudden, there's Hollingsworth in the back end.
The closing rate of the guy behind when the guy in front slows down is so big. That's exactly what happened. Cheever thought he could make the outside move, had to get out of the throttle. Hollingsworth was on it hard, hit him from behind, and it's not a big crash, but it put him out.
And Billy Boat almost got into the back of Hollingsworth.
You may have experienced this
and
yourself.
Then look at this. The guy underneath Cheever just missed him, and that was Buddy Lazier.
You've had this happen to yourself sometimes on the interstate when you got a slower car in the left-hand lane and you close, but
Buddy.
You do it 3 times slower than it happened here.
3 of the top 4 in the points race now have had some problems as you see Cheever get up into the wall.
Now watch the yellow car right on the high side. That yellow car is your point leader, Scott Goodyear. Boy, did he just sneak through.
It's a 1-mile track. They'll be here in a second. Robbie drifted up. I had to back off, and I got hit from behind from Hollingsworth. It's unfortunate.
We've got trouble. We've got trouble. Big trouble out of turn number 2 and midway down the straightaway. Eliseo Salazar is involved.
And
as is John Hollingsworth. Tice Carlson also being called into play. You could see him in the left-hand side of your screen.
You see Hollingsworth is moving around. That's definitely a good sign. And how about Eliseo Salazar? A year ago in practice before this race, he was also involved in a very serious crash. Hollingsworth showing his disappointment there with his fist. This, for Salazar, was supposed to be the final stage to his rehabilitation after having so many bones in his body broken in this crash a year ago.
Of one of the cars involved, John Hollingsworth. Here's why.
Watch Eliseo Salazar come through in the green and yellow car. Gets upside down on the side as he scrapes along the wall. We'll show you why the accident occurred. Here's Salazar coming through. Now watch, we'll stop it. Look, his wing is down in the rear wing. Just folded down on the backside.
There you see it behind the car. The car's totally out of control here. He hits the wall, the car gets launched and is on the side, but luckily enough for Salazar, comes back on its wheels pretty quickly.
Unbelievable. 2 major incidents for Salazar here in the last 2 years. And then John Hollingsworth, who's now been in 2 situations.
2, and he is very, very frustrated. His former driving instructor from high school is his spotter. No spotter needed right now.
Close.
Side by side and way down low goes Mark Dismore. They touch.
Yeah, it was so close. It was just, oh, what a pity.
A hard hit for Mark Dismore and Stephan Gregoire. With 11 laps to go, Dismore, who started on the pole, was running in 3rd, collided with Stephan Gregoire, who was in 2nd. They rubbed, they traded paint, and all of a sudden, the caution has come out once again here at the MBNA Mid-Atlantic 200. 5th caution of the afternoon here at Dover International Speedway. Welcome back to Dover, where we have a handful of laps left. We want to remind you, coming up next, live from the legendary and historic Saratoga Park, NDRA Champion Series leader Behrens looks to stake his claim as the best horse in the country. Don't miss the Whitney Handicap next, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, here on Fox. We are still under the 5th caution of the afternoon because of this.
Very close, very tight here. Nobody's fault, really, just a racing accident. It doesn't take much to just touch each other, get tangled up, and then go into the wall together like they did.
Now that wall is steel boilerplate 3/4 inch thick.
Tough break for both of these drivers. Racing incident, obviously, but they were running second and third, a legitimate shot at the victory, and we're trying to get around Gregoire as well as you see him come into the turn 4.
You know, at this stage of the race with just a few laps to go, Mark Disma was on the inside of Stephan Gregoire going into turn 3. Very close here. And he goes up the track a little bit too much. And they tangle.
We talk about the boilerplate wall. When you hit it at 179 to 180 miles an hour, you can move it back a couple of inches.